Hey, before I get into this video, I want to give you guys a heads up. I'm probably going to be doing a series of just basic beginner stuff. Okay, you know, YouTube is a great place to learn, and I learned fishing from my father, but not everybody has that same bringing up and have that same opportunity. So I'm going to make some beginner YouTube videos. I'll probably put them in its own little playlist, you know, label it beginning fishing, something like that. I don't know yet, but expect to see more of those coming. Of course, I'll do my regular videos, the unboxings and tournament videos and stuff like that. Anyway, so just do these beginner videos so people can learn. Fishing is a fun sport, and you know, I want to spread it as much as I can. So expect that coming. Anyway, on to this video. Hey, what up, guys? It's John from Mongo Fishing. So today's video is going to be regarding this Tungsten Finesse Kit that I was talking about. Okay, now this can be a giveaway video. The giveaway instructions will be at the end of the video, but I want to preface this with, this is going to be a beginner level video. The reason I'm going to do this is because not everybody started off at the same level that you're at, or whatever, and people need to know how to tie knots and how to do you know, just some stuff that you and I may take for granted. Everybody started somewhere, and so I decided that I'll make this level, or this video, to that level, a very beginner, slow video, and people can learn from it. So that's that. So let's get into this kit. All right, so this little kit right here, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. It's got two 1/8 ounce flipping weights, you know, bullet style weights, right? It's got a teardrop drop shot weight. It's got a skinny drop shot weight. It has 5 1/32 ounce tungsten nail weights, some flipping beads, and some bobber stops. So as a whole, I mean, this is a cool little kit, I think. It also has a little $5 off coupon code for, well, it has a little $5 off coupon code on the back. Let's get into this video. So I'm using heavier line than I would probably use for some of these finesse things, only because I want to make sure that you guys can see it. You're going to have to deal with that also. So I guess let's get started. So first off, I'm going to show you how to rig a Texas rig, just a basic Texas rig. We're going to use this 1/8 ounce flipping weight. It's bullet shaped. Okay, you got a skinny end, you got a fat end. You want to run your line through the skinny end like that. Okay, so the weight slides back and forth like this. Okay, now if you want to keep it as a slip sinker, that's fine, and it can slide up and down your line. It's perfectly fine. In that case, since this is tungsten that we're using, we're probably going to want to use one of these glass beads. Those little flipping beads that I showed you, okay? We'll probably want to use one of those because, let's get this out. Probably want to use one of these because tungsten is potentially sharper than lead, right? And so as it's sliding up and down, you run the risk of it hitting your knot and putting a small nick in your line. So in this case, if we're going to use a sliding tungsten weight that's slipping back and forth, we're going to want to use one of those beads behind the weight. Okay? Plus, it makes a cool little clicking sound when they hit. Okay? So that's that. Now, the knot we're going to want to use with something like this, I mean, there's several different knots you can use. I prefer the improved clinch knot. It's super simple. It's really not hard at all to use or to do. So what we have here is an offset worm hook. I believe this is a 3/0, which means 3/0 offset worm hook. And so you take the line. It doesn't matter if your hook is facing this way or facing this way. It's irrelevant. You take the line and you run it through the eye of the hook, right? Give yourself a few inches of leeway for a tag end here, and you want to spin your hook, hold your hook safely, and spin it 5 to 7 times. 1, 2, 5. Okay? So it looks like this, right? Now you want to take this line, this tag end, and you're going to run it through this little loop right here that's formed at the bottom. So you want to run it through that loop. Okay? Now that in itself has formed a loop, this big loop right here that you just made by running your line through. Okay? So you want to take your line through that loop. So you basically just push it back through the big loop. Okay? There you go. Get it wet. Don't hook yourself in the mouth or anywhere else. Right? And slowly cinch down your line. You don't want to do it fast. You want to make sure that things are sliding down slowly and that things are sitting in place the way they should. Now, you can always tug on the other line a little bit to make sure things slid down the way they should. Now you get it wet so that you don't put a lot of friction on your line. Okay? So there you go, like that. Now, take this knot, take the tag end of your line and a pair of clippers or scissors or whatever and clip it close, and there you go. Okay? Now, when your weight hits, it's going to hit this glass bead and not hit your line, putting a nick in your line. Right? Because you can hear how hard that hits. Okay? So there you go. That is what the 2 flipping weights and the 6 beads are for this sort of setup. That is a Texas rigged bait, Texas rigged worm right there. Okay, Texas rig is probably the most common used rig for soft plastic baits. Probably. I can't think of one that's used more than this. Okay, so that's that. So let's disconnect this. And let's move on to the next thing. Now what this is, we're going to do the same style, okay, but this time, let's put our bead away. This time we're going to use one of the bobber stops. Okay, it comes with 6 bobber stops. Now here's how you attach a bobber stop. You take your line and you run it through. The bobber stops have these little holes. Do you see that? Little holes in the wire? Hopefully you can see that. You're going to run your fishing line through one of those holes in the wire. Okay, so see, the line is on the wire. Okay, so you double your line over and you're going to grab your bobber stop and you're going to slide it right onto your line, and you'll just keep pulling, and there you go. It is now completely on your line. See it? There's your tag in. Okay, so we did the bobber stop. Now what's the point of the bobber stop? The bobber stop is so we can take our weight, Texas rig again. You're going to take your little bullet weight and you're going to stick it through the skinny end of the bullet towards the fat end like we did before, right? So we can slide back and forth. But this time it's going to stop right where that bobber stop is. See that? If we want to adjust it, we just move the bobber stop. Okay? So we have our bobber stop right there holding our weight in place. We grab our hook that we had used before, and we're going to do the same improved clinch knot again. Cinch it down. If it's cinched in like it's supposed to be, if it's cinched in nice and tight, it's not going to slip. That's why you want to make sure and tug on both ends. individually. Make sure they're in there. Good. Trim our tag end. Now with this style, we don't need a glass bead. And the reason for that is this isn't going to be moving and hitting our knot, because we're going to take this bobber stop and we're going to slide it down and peg our weight right up against our knot. Okay, so you put your weight there, slide your bobber stop down, and there you go. That weight is not moving. It is in place. See that? We want to move it, we can just grab our bobber stop and move our bobber stop, and our weight will move. We don't want to move it, we put our bobber stop back up against the weight. Okay? Rig your bait the same way we did before, and there you go. A pegged weight. Now, keep in mind that these bobber stops are rarely reusable, which means that, you know, just now I put it on here, odds are I'm not going to be able to get it back on the connector. It is possible sometimes, but no promises. So you may be getting only 5. But I'll do what I can do to try to get it back to you the full amount. So just in case, let me grab that. And save that for you. Okay, so we're done using these bullet weights for now. Next step, we're going to do a Neko Rig. Now, Niko Rig is super simple also. We don't need that long worm hook. We're going to use a smaller hook. We'll actually use the same small hook for these next 2 rigs. It's going to be the Neko and the Dropshot. So for this one, the Niko Rig, we're going to use this little hook right here. Okay? We take our line, do the same thing, tie whichever knot you want. Improved clinch knot again is what I prefer on this. So run it through, twist your hook through our little hole, through the bigger hole, clinch down. Trim off our tag end. So all we have is a hook. That is it. There's no weight, there's no nothing else on this, just a hook. Okay, so for the Neko, we want to grab one of our nail weights. Okay, we're going to grab our nail weight. You take your nail weight and you're just going to push it right in the nose. And you're going to bury it all the way till it's flush, right? All the way in the nose. See that? Okay. And we'll take our worm. Now you don't need to do this. This is just my personal preference. We put an O-ring on it. So an O-ring tool, you can use a rubber band, you can use whatever you want. This just helps your worm last a little longer. So slip an O-ring on here. I like to do it on the lower end of the worm. Okay, the first quarter, maybe the first third, something like that. Okay, get that. You take your hook. With your hook, you want to run your hook with the point heading in towards your worm and then poke it back out. Okay? Just like that. What we don't want is we don't want to run it the other way so that it's up against the back of the worm like this. We don't want the back up against the worm. We want the back facing facing the worm like this. Okay? So when you cast it, what happens is this thing sinks down to the bottom, and it should stand up like this. When you jerk it, it'll come up, and then sink back down to the bottom like this. The exposed hook, you run a big risk of getting snagged, yes, but this isn't something you typically use all the time anyway. This is when fishing conditions are a little more tough and the fish are being a little more picky. That's when the Neko Rig works best. If this weight is not enough, you can use an actual nail, okay? But that's the point of these nail weights, is for Neko rigging. Super simple. Now, the reason you want to use a rubber band is if I just stick it in the worm like this, a fish can take my worm. But if you have the rubber band or O-ring, he has a lot harder time taking that. Okay. So that is the Neko Rig. Regular little hook, nail weight, O-ring. Too easy, right guys? Alright, the last one is drop shot. Drop shotting is highly effective. It's one of my favorite techniques to do, but it has a time and a place. And so let's show you this drop shot. A little more complicated. The fishing itself of a drop shot is super simple. It's probably one of the easiest fishing methods you can do. The tying up is the only part that is a little time consuming. Okay, so we take our hook. Again, a smaller style hook. Now this time we want to make sure that our hook sits up like this. Okay, so we're going to take our line and we're going to run it down through our hole like this. Okay, down through. And pull off, you know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet, something like that to work with. Okay. So now what we're going to do, so we have our line, our hook is free dangling. Okay, so we want to take our tag end right here, and we want to run it back through the direction it just came from. Okay, and actually here's the, we're going to pull this tag end quite far so that we're stuck with just our hook, this little loop that we've made by running the line this way and then running it that way again. Okay, so that loop, our hook, our main line with our tag end really, really long. See how far away I got that, guys? Okay, so what we do here is we take this loop, we take our line, and we loop them together like that. Now we take this loop that we had before, that was over here on the right hand side, on my right, your left, and we push it through, oops, messed up, push it through that loop. Okay, once it comes through, we have that. See that? Now hold this, take this big loop that we had before, run it all the way around our hook. This knot that we're tying is called a Palomar. Okay, so we're running it all the way around our hook. And so now everything is on this side, and just our hook is on this side. See that? Okay, now we're going to get this wet. We're going to slowly pull these down, ensuring that we really want to focus on our main line to make sure it's tightened down first, and then our tag end line. Make sure it's tightened down, and look at it and make sure that everything is connected to the hook there and nothing's wrapped around on either side. Okay, see that? Okay, now what we have is our main line, our hook, and this long tag end. We want to make sure it stays in this position. So we're going to take our tag end, we're going to bring it one more time down through the eyelet of the hook. Okay? We're not tying anything, we're not doing anything, we're just bringing that down through the eyelet of the hook one more time. And that just ensures that the hook stays facing the direction we want. We may have to mess with the line a little bit, that's fine. There's no tightening, there's no twisting, there's no tying, because we already did all that. All we're doing is putting this in place. So there we go. Main line from the rod, there's our hook, this is our tag end. So on the tag end is where we'll grab our drop shot weight. We will use the teardrop. So we got our teardrop drop shot weight, right? There it is. It has this little hole in it and then like a pointy, like an arrowhead type thing. So we take our line and we run it through the fat part of that little arrowhead thing. Okay, run it through and then pull. We're pulling. We pinched our two lines together and we pulled our weight, and it jams it in place. And there you go. That is a drop shot. Now this one's exaggerated a little further than I would normally do it. Your distance between hook and weight is really up to you. You know, 8 to 10 inches is probably more accurate. I think I've got probably 15 or 18. So in that case, if that's too far, just push your line back down, slide your hook up to where you want it, right? And then pop it back in place. But you're not going to want a long piece of tag end hanging this long. So we're going to have to trim this off. And there you go. Your weight is on the bottom. Your hook is right here. Your main line. The way you hook up a bait. Now this time I typically like to use really small baits. And you want to nose hook it. So this is a 3-inch BWA Ultra Hog. Okay? Does not need to be this bait. This is just the bait that I happen to have in my hand. Or have right here next to me, so that's what I'm using. So you want to take your bait, take your hook, and you can either hook it through the nose and out through the top, right, like that, and out through the top, which some people like to do. I personally don't like to do it that way. I prefer to take my bait and hook it from the bottom and run it out through the top, and that's it. So it's just hooked like this. Super simple, really easy, and then it just dangles in the water because your weight is sitting on bottom. So your weight's on bottom. This bait is sitting kind of floating out like this. Just a little bit of bouncing is all it takes. If you sit there and bounce your rod a lot, you're just going to mess it up and you're going to get less bites. Just barely tick your rod tip, just ever so soft, because this is directly onto, I mean, every action that your rod does is directly onto this hook. The weight is not interfering at all. So in this case, less is more. So that's it. I think I've covered everything in this kit. So that's that. Thanks guys for putting up with it. For those of you that are experienced fishermen, yeah, thanks for enduring. Those of you that are brand new and learning, this video should help you quite a bit. Okay, so on to how to win this. So now that you've watched it all, what I need you to do is hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. I think it's right down there. Could be over here. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button on the video. Drop a comment below. The comment can be something as simple as entered. But I'd prefer you put something meaning in there, actually. Something that's interacting with the video. Maybe leave a comment, a tip of your own, or, you know, maybe you learned something. But it could be as simple as entered if you want. So be a subscriber, hit the thumbs up, drop a comment, and then on April Fool's Day, Easter Sunday, I will use a random comment generator and pick the winner. Zero cost for you. Whoever the winner is, I'll post that video, you'll get in contact with me, and we will arrange shipping from there. Like I said, I'm paying for shipping too. There's no cost to you at all. Like I say always, get on the water, be safe, and go stick some lips.